January 24th, 2022. Tonight, Ralph Lopez will give our invocation. All the pledge of allegiance. Sorry, Ralph.
That's okay. Please stand with me, bow our heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you today for your love and your kindness, Lord, and letting us be here today to do the work of the city. We just ask you to watch over us and help us make decisions that are pleasing to you. We just thank you for all the blessings you've given us. We ask for rain, Lord, for the coming spring, and we just ask you to watch over us and be with us. Most of all, Lord, we want to thank you for the gift of your Son, Jesus. It's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya?
Oh,
Here. Commissioner Villanueva?
Here.
Commissioner Arias? Commissioner Terry?
Here.
Mayor Litchfield?
Here. Next is consideration of changes or deletions to the agenda.
No changes on that.
Okay, there being none, I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda as is.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes.
Commissioner Arias? Commissioner Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Moya?
Next on the agenda is public comments, and there is none tonight. So we'll go on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is approved by a single motion. Any member of the commission may request an item be transferred to the regular agenda from the consent without discussion or vote. These items are the city commission work session, February 10th, the commission meeting, February 10th, special city commission meeting, February 17th. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Don't everybody jump in.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Okay. Roll call?
Commissioner Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya?
Yes.
Commissioner Villanueva?
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda is ordinances and resolutions. The first resolution, 2022-03, is requesting participation in the 22-23 MAP program. Oh, right. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. It's time to start applying for the 2022-2023 NMDOT projects again. These are the first two, and they are going to go ahead and give us another chance at the Transportation Project Fund. So I'm going to try to do another big project again. These can stand alone, though, if we don't get accepted into the larger one. For MAP, I'm trying to look at an area near the rec center. The north-south streets there don't have much for water lines in them, so I'm going to try to concentrate on those. But I was informed at the NERPO meeting this month that they may let us use the transportation project funds for underground utilities as well. So that may change what I apply for, and we're just starting the process of that one. But for the MAP, I'd like to apply for $391,466.90, which that one has a 25% matching share, which our share would be $97,866.73. I'm asking for that amount. They may give us anywhere above or below that, but that's pretty close to what they usually award us. I guess I'll stand for questions.
Anyone have a question, comment?
The only question I have, you still have a chance to do a match waiver on this?
Yes, we do. The last cycle, they actually had us turn in the match waiver with the application, and then they made us do it over again too. But they haven't announced the match waivers yet. We actually got MAP 2 years in a row, which is very unusual. It's only the second time it's happened since I've worked here in 8 years. This is the normal cycle that we normally get it. Last year, the last go around, we don't normally get it. It's a 2-year funding cycle on MAP. So I'm confident they seem to have money and are trying to spend it. So
That'd be good, thank you, yeah.
Yeah, but they will offer the match waivers again. It's first come, first served. So it's hard to get it in, as quickly as possible because I have to wait for commission to approve it usually, depending on when they give it to me. But we got it in last year. We actually got it on the Transportation Project Fund and the MAP, and no co-op, we didn't, but. So we'll try for it again if we can.
Any other questions, discussion? I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 2022-03.
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Cherry,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb,
Yes.
Commissioner Ganada.
Yes.
Next is resolution 2022-04, requesting participation in the 22-23 NMDOT co-op program.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is the co-op program. We do get this every year typically, and it's ranged anywhere from 18,000 to 40,000 is what we usually get. I ask for a little more typically than what they usually give me because I don't want to undershoot it, but I'm applying for this in the same area as the MAP and hopefully the Transportation Project Fund. So I'm trying to get one big project together there. And I can use a MAP and co-op for the north-south streets that don't have utilities, and I'm going to try to do the Transportation Project Funds for the east-west streets, which are in worse shape, but they also have water lines underneath them. So for the co-op, I'm going to ask for a total of $55,070, which the city's 25% share would be $13,767.50 if we are awarded that amount. And at this time, I'd like to stand for questions and ask for your approval.
Any questions, discussion?
I am.
Okay, did you have something? Okay. I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution, 2022-04.
I'll go ahead and approve it.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb.
Yes.
Commissioner Ganada,
Yes.
Commissioner Cherry.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
next is resolution 2022-05, designating bank signatures due to reorganization of commission.
Yes, ma'am, I'll be presenting that. So considering we just had the recent election and the new appointment of Commissioner Cherry to the commission, the official signatories for the bank had to be completed and redone again. And saying so, everything else is the same as it was the last time we approved this, which was just a month or two ago. So I would respectfully ask for your approval of this resolution. We get everything switched. And also, Mayor Pro Tem Moya has been added to that as well as Mayor Pro Tem. And he's also going to be signing everybody's checks now. The mayor and the Mayor Pro Tem sign off on the checks.
Okay. All right, any questions or anything?
Kind of worried about that.
We could go to Santa, but it could.
Oh, exactly.
Anyway, so if not, I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 2022-05. Do I have a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb,
Yes.
Commissioner Ganada,
Yes.
Commissioner Cherry,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes. Next is new business, requesting approval of amended joint powers agreement with, I don't know what those letters stand for.
Tucumcari Clay County Regional
Emergency.
Emergency
Okay.
Communications Center.
Good job. All right. Who's doing this?
I will be doing that, Mayor.
Okay.
So this is an update to our current JPA. We had a small committee meeting that met individuals that represented the city of Tucumcari, Quay County, Logan, as well as San Juan. House was invited, but they did not attend. And in doing so, we worked and discussed this current JPA in a way to make it a little bit more equitable based on population of these municipalities or entities, as well as call volume. I feel it's equitable, it makes sense. Previously, the city and the county split 45% each of the net of the operating budget. Once it's GRT is paid for, the County Emergency Communication GRT pays for the bulk of it. Any net expense remaining after that goes out, split up between the entities listed. It's the city of Tucumcari, It's also the Village of House, the Village of Logan, Quay County, who's on this? Logan, San Juan House, and then other entities, New Mexico State Parks, Harding County. They all pay into and San Miguel County, they all pay into the board. They pay into dispatch, to pay for the dispatch center.
Okay.
In saying that, there's, again, the change where it used to be 45-45 for the city and the county, and the remaining balance was distributed amongst the remaining entities. With that being said, after meeting and some statistics, which I felt I did, I want to say argue, but I spoke up on behalf of the city of Tucumcari that I don't feel we could go based off of just 1 year of statistics of calls. It can't be solely based just on call volume. That's why the other factors are put into there. So with that being said, we all agreed upon a tiered system where every single entity would pay a certain flat tier fee. For example, the smaller entities would, based on their population and call volume, they'd pay $1,000 flat fee. So House, San Juan, those two pay $1,000 plus a percentage. The next tier would be Logan. They pay $2,000 based on their size and call volume. And then Quay County, based on that, they pay $2,000 as well. And Tucumcari, since we have the most calls, we have a $3,000 flat tiered fee plus 60% of the overall net budget. With that being said, I don't want to get too caught up on the percentage. We went from 45 to 60. The county went from 45 down to 22. So they're going to save money. Logan and San Juan and House will actually be paying more money because of the tiered system. The city of Tucumcari, we talked about the importance of the operating budget and the budget based on the GRT coming in, maybe accounting for a higher number of revenue. Right now it's budgeted as a revenue of $400,000 for that GRT. They were already, I believe, at 72% at half of the year, so they're expected to exceed that. We were talking more along the lines of being conservative and even around $425,000 as a revenue. And if that happens, using this year's numbers and compiling that for next fiscal year's budget, we'd actually be paying less than we did this year. This year, the city contributed about $32,000. It cost nearly $500,000 to operate dispatch, so paying for our volume, it makes sense, and for what is a little bit more realistic, I could see that, I agree to that. I was getting hung up on the 60% for a little bit, but after we talked and negotiated, if you kind of formulate the budget in a little bit more efficient manner, cut out some of the waste, and I guess consider a higher revenue coming in, then everybody across the board would pay significantly less than they actually would, as it looks as a percentage. So to me, I wasn't too hung up on that. Commissioner Cherry was also in attendance to the meeting. My brain's a little bit foggy right now, so if you have anything like that, Commissioner, that's the gist of it, is the percentages are changing.
So, yeah, let me clarify, he did argue a little bit.
A little bit.
And Mark, I'd like to say, you did a good job. He did a good presentation and got him to see, and so it's going to be based on the net. The operating budget will actually go up from what comes out of the GRT. So I really commend Mark. He did a good job with it, I think.
So what's the total budget for this? I didn't quite.
So the budget has not been set yet. This is
No, the
strictly,
total budget that they're asking for on the overall, on the agreement on the TQREC.
Oh, the 6,000,
60%.
60%.
No, 60% is not the 6,000.
Right, that's, okay. I
no,
see.
so the budget hasn't been discussed yet.
A 3,000 is one, but that's not the 60% because it says 3,000 and 60%
Correct.
of the net budget.
Correct. They haven't started the new budget yet. They will start their budget around the same time we do in April. The reasoning behind that is to have 3 quarters of data before we start talking about budget. For purposes of discussing the JPA and what numbers could look like as a budget for next fiscal year, we went with a flat budget consistent to what we're utilizing this fiscal year. And based on the formulation and playing with the spreadsheet, which I have, it actually showed that we could pay less than we did this year. Even though we're paying a higher contribution, 60%, it's of the net operating budget, which means the net operating budget with more revenue coming in, that overall net amount's not gonna be as high as it was this year. With that being said, we could pay 80%, 90%, but if we have more revenue coming in, that's less money out of the city's pocket. It's being covered by that GRT. So we don't have a hard number what they're asking. They're not asking for a budget amount yet. They're just strictly asking to amend the JPA to be a little bit more equitable amongst the entities.
And the 3,000 is a base amount. Every entity is gonna pay a base.
No, I understand that
On
point,
their
I understand
revenue.
that point. But what really concerns me is you're looking at the county at 22 and we're at 60%.
Yeah, and that 22 and 60% is the call volume that goes through the dispatch.
Yeah, but it's in Tucumcari and Clay County too?
It is, but that, it's
So it should be the other way around,
It's
22
it's
Tucumcari.
outside the,
No,
I understand that part, but we're still residents of Clay County.
that was another negotiation point. Based on call volume, they had us at 66%. But we discussed it, they went back even further and pulled out every single call that was in the county that the city ran on. And that brought it back down to 60%. It was roughly 6% of the calls were in the county. Again, that data is just 1 year.
Well, the 6,000 is not a big deal, it's the percentile that we will have to come up with, from the net budget, which is 60%, I mean, not the 3,000.
So the Tucumcari Police Department, Tucumcari Fire Department, and Tucumcari EMS generate 66% of the calls.
That's right, I understand that.
Okay.
But the whole deal is, I don't understand, the state police, do they participate in this or not?
No, state police has their own dispatch centers. They're dispatched out of Las Vegas, New Mexico, I believe. Yeah, they're completely separate from us. And New Mexico State Parks is fixing a transition, since they're a state entity and actually going to fall underneath. They're going to be dispatched out of Las Vegas as well through state police.
I wish the county would be a little more than 22, that would be a lot easier for us, because what's only right is fair, Because the only thing the county is covering is anything outside the city of Tucumcari.
Correct. And I mean, the county does assist us as well on different fire calls. We call for mutual aid once in a while in District 1 or District 2.
Don't we also do that? Because I've seen some of our trucks up there in the county.
We do. And
Yeah,
that's why.
So don't just say that they're the only ones doing it.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, because I feel, I don't know, it's always the same story, that they don't seem to take into account that Clay County, that Tucumcari is in Clay County, and that you share some of the burden as well.
I agree, as well as the other entities. The one thing I wanted to be completely upfront about and really emphasize and focus on was not getting caught up on the percentage and the drop bottom fact that the dollar amount's actually going to decrease from how it was being formulated now, which is amazing. We went from 45 to 60% contribution if we pass this, yet our overall contribution is going to go down, even though we're paying even an additional $3,000 fee, flat fee. So I feel.
But then you have the 60%.
Correct, but with that 60% even, we paid $32,000 this year. We could drop that down as low as potentially 2022. I don't want to give a hard number so we're not painted in that corner, but there is a huge opportunity and I believe it's going to happen. We'll pay less than we did even with the 60%.
You don't think it'll go up?
No, I do not.
So what do you do when you get a call? Let's say, because when you get a call, how do you handle it? It's out of town or in town?
So there's GIS built into the CAD system that they have at dispatch, and all of that, it's ran through the reports, it's ran through CAD. It knows exactly the different, I guess you could call them zones. If it's within city limits, then they know to dispatch city fire, they know to dispatch the police department. If it's outside a certain area, that may be District 1. So that's credited to the county, District 2, etc. It's all tracked through the CAD system on exactly which location it is. And they're able to file different reports and search them. And that's how they came up with these statistics. But again, I feel if we're going to go based on statistics, this is going to be reevaluated every 3 years. So in 3 years, the county could have more, the city could have less calls. So those percentages could change every 3 years. And that's where I felt it was important. We can't continue to do this just on 1 year of data. In 3 years, I want to revisit this. So we have 3 to 5, well, it'd be 4, I guess, for the 3 years, but 3 to 4 years of data That way it shows call volumes change, then it needs to be adjusted accordingly.
Yeah, because I guess when you call 911, then you figure it out where you're coming from.
Correct. I don't know the ins and outs of the CAD system. Some things might be GPS right away. They know where that 911 call is coming from. If not, for sure, if they ask the location of the call, it's all logged. It's all part of the reporting system.
Every call that comes in, if it's a landline call,
And have
there's an emergency location identification and a telephone number.
No, because I called before, but I call on my cell, and most people use cells.
And then depending on your service, they either has a GPS that automatically maps it, or if you stay on long enough, it gives you the exact location through triangulation on the cell phone.
Because when I call in, I usually call in from the city if it's out in Allen Lane and in that area where we have real estate, right at the city boundaries. Okay.
All right, any more discussion? I would entertain a motion to approve the amended joint powers agreement.
Madam Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
And this is a 2-year?
3 years. So we'd be locked in at 60% for 3 years.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Ganova?
Yes.
Commissioner Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to give the commission, well, I believe the commission probably already knows, but the public, an update on our capital outlay request. Since the legislative session has wrapped up, we were on the list to be awarded $500,000 for our number one priority, the KOA lift station, or excuse me, East Route 66 sewer improvements, but it's for the KOA lift station and the pressure main leading up to where we left off last time. The $500,000 will more than likely not cover that whole scope of that project to get that phase completed, but I do plan on using some of those American Rescue Plan funds to complete that phase. I also wanted to give an update. The mayor and I, as well as Mayor Pro Tem Moya, had the pleasure of being able to speak to Congresswoman Teresa Ledger Fernandez. It was a good little update of some funds that will be coming down from the federal level. The one thing that I want to make sure to voice during that meeting was letting her know that although it's nice to get these federal funds, if there's matches required for those, if maybe there's some kind of state funding to match that, similar to the airport or to some of the others, or excuse me, NFDOT specifically, where you can request a match waiver. I'd like to see some kind of program for that for lower income communities or those that may not have the funds to complete those, say a 25% match. Also had the chance to meet with the current state auditor, Mr. Brian Colon. We had a good little conversation after the meeting to discuss where we're at with the city, with our current audit. It is being submitted late due to some unforeseen circumstances, but he was very positive. He seems to be very positive in support of Tucumcari as a whole. So I was happy to meet with him, and he stated that more than welcome to give him a call if there's any issues and to discuss the current audit. Also had a chance to meet with Robin Bobian, our marketing firm. We had a very good meeting last Friday to discuss some of the goals and things we see moving forward for the next fiscal year, as well as closing out this last quarter strong. The commission had previously awarded around a little over $30,000 out of executive side to really hammer home some things at the end for printing of the visitor's guides, which I have had a chance to see a draft of that now. It's looking good. It's not officially done, but we're really close. I hope to have pretty much a final draft next week for the lodgers tax meeting. We also discussed some things we're pursuing with New Mexico Tourism for the grant opportunity again through the co-op through them. It's very encouraging to see that they are matching 2-to-1 again. Previously it's 1-to-1 with grant funds. This will be 2-to-1. In regards to lodgers tax, had a chance to go out to the convention center yesterday and meet with the contractor. Floors are looking great. They have everything down to a 200 grit, which means it's starting to look real polished. And this is the point when they'll actually come in and add the stain to the floor. they'll set it and seal it with a densifier. So we were looking at the project, and I've taken a few progress pictures that I'd like to show the commission as we get further. I'd also like to invite you all to go out and look at it, since we are paying quite a bit of lodgers tax towards that project. There was a lot of curbs. It looks like the south end was maybe an addition. I don't know enough about the history of the convention center, but you can see the difference in the concrete. And there were some really huge curbs and lips on it that they've been able to grind down to make sure it's a smooth transition. They're doing a very great job. I've been very proud of what they've done so far. We were able to pick some colors for the stains. I can't wait for everyone to be amazed to see the before and after. It's amazing. Carpet is in production, should be delivered hopefully in a couple of weeks so they can do the carpet in the ballroom. There's also been discovered a leak in the roof in the southwest corner that we need to get addressed, unfortunately. And the other concern, we're going to have a change order. I will be presenting this to lodgers tax next week and following up with the commission the following week after that, the week following next week, to ask for executive funds for a change order. In doing so, there was tile throughout the convention center. It was utilized as the baseboard. So typically you have this code base that's about 4 inches, and you can cover it up and it's fine, no issue. With the polished concrete, since there was tile there, we're looking at least about 6 to 8 inches in some areas, which means now we have to go back so it doesn't look tacky and completely redo all the drywall, retexture it, repaint it. So it's unfortunate. I feel the time to do it now. We have the funds available. I'm waiting on a final cost estimate to present next week. But in doing so, it's going to be redoing all that, like I said, the drywall, any patches, retexturing to try to match the existing, which is going to be tough, as well as painting. And also, since the colors are changing with the floor, we're also going to have to repaint the trim. But all in all, that's what the money's for. That's why we saved some money. We kept some
Were you
cash.
going out on bids for that, or will you do the procurement?
It's a change order. So since we already have a contractor and it's still within the scope of that job, since it's something pertaining specifically to removing that tile, I'm comfortable just utilizing a change order as long as the price is fair and having this contractor do it. They have the expertise. They have their own general contractor's license. We're able to knock it out. They have the schedule to do it, as well as, since they already have, they're working on the floor. If something were paint were to get on the floor, they're able to clean it, and they do it on their own. So that's the update on the convention center. Very, very excited about that. We're getting closer to completing that. Also wanted to let the commission know that we've been getting a few more water authorization letters, what I'm calling them, for the cannabis industry. Was able to submit and get, I think I have 4 out now at this time. And I've heard at least from 2 applicants that they've already been granted their permits based on, that was the final piece of the puzzle, by them being able to get that letter that's been submitted to the state has given their permits. And last but not least, I wanted.
On this water thing, what acreage are they using? What are they doing? Or what is the percentile? What is it?
So they didn't give any specific volume of water. Our letter that's going out from the city, I consulted with the attorney that helped us with the cannabis ordinance. He helped me draft the actual letters. And in there, it's consistent with what state statute had followed. We actually put a disclaimer on there that the city does not condone, supports any kind of illegal activity or cannabis business. We are strictly a water provider, and we do allow or provide water services at such and such location. And that was sufficient for the state to pass.
Well, what's going to be the rate?
The rate's going to be the standard typical city rate. If it's in a commercial area, they'll have the commercial rate. If it has to be commercial, it can't be residential. We also have 2 other entities that requested to utilize our bulk water filling station, which we call the Water Salesman on 3rd Street. Have not heard back from either of those applicants yet. Those letters just went out recently. So they will be hauling
That
water.
money just paid, don't you, there?
They pay there. I believe it's a quarter for 50 gallons. They will have to haul it. These 2 individual applicants are out in the county, so they do not have to follow the city ordinance. They still have to follow state statute. But I have not heard back from them. It's too soon to see if.
I know you said there's a disclaimer on this other thing, but that's not the question I have. The question is, are we going to be able to supply the water? Because if not, we'll be liable for the crop.
100%. So we also have some things in our ordinances along with that letter. I can get you a copy after the meeting if you like. It states that with this, they're able to utilize city water for their business. It doesn't say it's for cannabis. It's pretty obvious that it is, but we say we don't condone. We have the disclaimer, and then also says this water is also regulated and falls within, it must follow all state statutes, all federal, all local ordinances. And in doing so, in one of our ordinances states, we are not responsible for any issues that come up if it's a lack of a crop. It doesn't say crop, but for business purposes, due to any unforeseen circumstances, whether it's for maintenance, whether it's an act of God, we are not responsible for that. So that is our out, and the city.
Yeah, I understand that part, but let's say, for example, I have 200 plants and I'm irrigating them out of the spigot. Now all of a sudden, there's not enough water from the spigot to get my 200 plants, they die. Now I have to go, how am I gonna recover my money?
We are also, that is on the applicant because this is not insurable. This is a risk. It's been clearly stated in the letter. I've also emphasized that in speaking to these individual applicants verbally. We also have a water conservation ordinance. So if we got to that point where we're in extreme drought, it talks about at the worst level, the highest volume users, even if it's industrial, commercial, they will be asked to be cut back. I don't see that happening, hopefully in my lifetime. However, we do have outs and protection as a city if we're not able to provide water service to them. If we're not able to provide water service to them,
It's in the contract.
whether it's in a drought, whether it's in.
Yeah, I understand that part, but yeah. I just want to be careful that we don't get ourselves into buying somebody's crops.
No, correct. We've definitely, we looked into that and we were very careful. That was the delay in the letters going out because we were very thorough in making sure that the city was
Are
covered.
these microbrewers or what?
Everybody. There's the applicants or people that have dispensaries and integrated grows. There's people that are strictly just growing out in the county. But this letter goes out to everybody.
But how do we do it with Liberty Water, since we just sell them the water?
Correct. So the only two applicants that I'm aware of, there was somebody that approached one of the co-ops that we sell water to. They said they were not able to provide the letter and they could not allow their water to be utilized for growing cannabis. So those two applicants, or at least one of them that told me that story, has now chose to utilize city water from the water salesman, which is good. That means that's a little bit more revenue for us.
Are you gonna be able to, if they're gonna utilize that much, are we gonna be able to put some sort of like a cart rather than always having to take quarters down there?
We've talked about that last time.
Because if this is gonna increase, that little box is gonna get full.
I agree. And that's something we have to consider. And I think the water department has a budget to do that. We discussed that previously, that at least now accepts bills. Before it was just coins. And you're correct. There's two systems we looked at. One would create more work on city employees as they could either have, it's not even a credit card, it's just a card
Yeah.
that you put cash on, pretty much like a motel. They come here and put so much money on it, and then they just swipe it, and based on the credits, they do that. That's safer, so you don't have so much cash out there. You could go to a card machine where they could accept, but then you have to have internet connection or cellular connection to make sure your transactions go through. So
Then you get charged a percentage.
charge a percentage. So my thought, if we go to that, and it's a good point, we've discussed in the past, is going to that card-based system where you have credits, you pay
Because
your.
right now, even in the summer, you got a line of people all the way past Dunn-Zero.
Correct.
I could go out there every day and empty that box.
I'm sure you could, sir. But I think the best bet, honestly, for security and for
No, security.
ease to citizens as well, I think we should look, I'm gonna note that to look into that card system again.
And let me ask you a question, do we empty that thing every afternoon, every whatever, how do you do numbers on there, or how do you?
Well, it's definitely emptied multiple times a day,
Okay,
and all that money is submitted to City Hall.
and what do we have for the accountability on it?
We base that on the water meter. The water salesman is calibrated, like I said, I believe it's at 50 gallons for 25 cents. And the water meter, we take that, it's read constantly each day. And we have that backed up. It has a radio on it, so we see exactly how much water is being utilized. We read it like you would any other water meter throughout the city, and we compare the money coming in to the
You do
volume.
it on a daily basis,
Yes.
Okay.
We don't do the meter reading on a daily basis. You can pull it on a daily basis if something looks suspicious, but we do it on a monthly basis. And then we divide that, we say that, say we used 1,000 gallons and it distributes 50 per quarter. And you go back to buy that and say, okay, we sold this much water, we should at least have this amount of money. So it's all accounted for, it's all.
So you have a separate account where you put it in?
I don't know if it's a separate, I mean, there's a different line item, I believe, that it goes into, but it's all reconciled, it's all accounted for. There's receipts, there's a whole process, it's, yes.
Okay, as long as you have it all reconciled at the end of the month, then we can be accountable, because that's the last thing I need is to have any problems with that.
No, correct, and that's why I
Because
have
that
made
money
sure
belongs to the citizen that took me.
we have a newer meter on there. I made sure it's a new meter, it has a radio, that way there's accountability. If
Because
there's any
you
questions.
got a lot of people that broke into it, didn't it?
Yes,
The last 2 years, we got everybody just getting their coins out of there and get.
and that's why it's good to make sure that we have that accountability where it can be read daily. And so far, like I said, there's been no concern.
As long as they take that money out, because I know we had, what was the last year, we had like 2 break things into it or something like that?
Last year, the year before, everything kind of flies by. I don't remember the exact time frame, but yes, sir, it was
Somebody broke
broken.
into them twice, the rate goes, okay, thank you.
And the last item I have is we need to have a special meeting next week, preferably Monday or Tuesday. It has to be prior to March 7th to get our bar for our city budget for our finances. So if there's a certain date and time that works better for the commissioners,
Tuesday's out for me, I'm never in town on Tuesdays.
what about Monday?
Yeah, I'm here, okay.
Monday's fine with me,
Monday the 7th,
the 28th, right?
Yes.
28.
I'm gonna, pardon, I won't be here tomorrow or Monday.
The 28th. What about,
It needs to be out when?
call and remind me.
I will.
I will,
We'll all
but I won't call you on the 28th if that's when it's scheduled.
Wednesday's a lodger's tax meeting, but we could swing it in the afternoon if we're available.
Keep in mind, we need to put notice out as well, so
How about Thursday?
Thursday's still the 3rd, I think we could do that.
Thursday?
What time?
I'm good all day, but whatever works for the commission.
Me too.
I think I'm good all day. I say that now. Let me double check my calendar.
I'm good all day except for 4 o'clock.
I'd rather do it early.
I don't care.
Me too. It shouldn't be too terribly long. And
So just real quick, is there any way we can try for Friday the 4th? Because I'm leaving tonight and I won't be back in the office until Tuesday morning. And so I won't have a chance to put out a public notice
I think we could put, you're gone tomorrow?
and Monday.
I'd prefer not to do it Friday because once this is approved, I believe Rochelle still has to put the numbers into the website. So I want to give her a little bit of time. Thursday would be ideal.
That won't give us the 72 hours to put out a
Does
notice.
she have to be here?
No, but I need to put out the notice. It's got to be out within
And
72 hours.
Monday, if you put out the notice tomorrow?
I won't be here. I'm leaving right after this meeting. And I won't be back until Tuesday
I
morning.
mean, put out the notice.
I can. It could be done tonight if we leave.
Yeah, you can.
Just get it done. Probably gonna take longer for the notice than it is for the meeting.
Yeah, the meeting shouldn't take long.
So what do we say, what time?
Do we want to do Monday now?
No, Thursday.
No,
Do Thursday still?
Thursday.
I'm open all day Thursday, so
I'm open all day Thursday except 4 o'clock.
Can we do it that morning?
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if Chris could be here that morning, but as long as we had a quorum, I guess it'd be all right.
So maybe 10, fine with that.
Ken?
Okay.
Thursday.
Remind me.
Then you're saying it's March 3rd.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
March 3rd at 10.
Yeah, holiday.
Calendar.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Hush, yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I kept thinking there's a radio going somewhere.
Sorry.
No.
And Ralph's giving me signals so I know what's going on.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Mayor.
Oh, that's all right. I just trying to figure out. All right, anything else, Mark?
No, ma'am, that's all. Thank you.
Okay. All right, next is comments by commissioners. Commissioner Cherry.
I think I've said enough tonight, Madam Mayor. I have
Okay. Commissioner Villanueva.
Oh, one thing, you were talking about the convention center. Is it true that the south side has, problems with the sewer?
I have no clue. I've not heard that. I could look into it though.
So that's what I was hearing, so. That's all I really got. Thanks for everything you guys done.
Thank you. All right, Mayor Pro Tem Moya.
Let me ask you a question on that interconnected line that we have under for the sewer, that we've been putting all this money, $500,000. That only connects one business, it's over there. Is, in case there's ever growth there, is there other people can hook into it or what, or not? Or is that line only for one person, for one business?
It was there for one person originally. I don't know if you know the technicality, but if it's on private property and the property owner doesn't allow an easement, I'm not sure others could tie in, could they?
Probably not in that case, no.
No, because we spend a lot of money on it. You know, here's $500,000. Again, and every time you turn around, it seems like something else. I mean, that's just a lot of money that we're contributing to one, and I'm okay with that, but the whole deal is, I know that if we're gonna, so if it's only for one area, I mean, we're giving them now another $100,000.
Even though that only serves one business primarily, it loops the rest of the line, so everybody on that line benefits from it still.
Yeah, but this is only, the one that goes under is only one business, right?
Oh, yes, I'm not thinking of
I'm
different
not
area.
asking about the other business that are on this, on the north side. It's just the south side I'm concerned with.
Yeah, so that's great. And I actually brought that up and I argued to a certain point. I said, it's kind of ridiculous. We're having to invest this amount of money for one customer.
We did it before we were having trouble in the middle of the I-40 and we had to get all that. And that created a lot of money for us to do.
And everything from KOA all the way up to the north side, it does just specifically serve the KOA. I know there had been a proposal years back from when I heard, just hearing the history, that another individual wanted to try to tie into that. However, the owner of the KOA property didn't allow an easement to do so.
Well, whoever did that agreement did a bad agreement, because the bottom line is that when we do that for a single person, you can always say that will allow us to hook up anybody else.
I agree.
Because we didn't pay for it.
Yes, sir, I agree. And I don't want to say too much because it was hearsay, but that was discussed, that it happened years and years and years ago. How was that allowed? And I believe the argument at the point was because it was going to bring more tax money, because we're going to get more RVs out of the KOA and whatnot. But
You know, in '69 or so, my father connected with we put our sewer out in the middle of, for the only street we had. But when we made it, the city made sure that it was, anybody else could hook into it. You know, it was there. Even, and when I gave Eastman, like I gave some to the gas and everybody, they made sure that it wasn't only for me on the Thorpe edition, it was for everybody they're gonna serve that in that area. How did this slip? I don't understand. But we're gonna have to examine that, and if we're gonna have to put any more money beyond the I-40, we're gonna have to get an agreement where that everybody else can tap into it, because of the fact is that if that was intended for it to grow in that part of the community, this is the only way we're gonna do it, because anytime you go before the highway to get an easement, especially because it's a federal highway and a state highway, it's hard to do.
The line, in order for anybody else to utilize that, they would have to go all the way to the lift station, because the line from the lift station all the way up to Old 66 is a pressure line, actually underneath Old 66. It's pressure till it gravity feeds at the manhole on the north side of Old 66. So nobody can tap directly into that line. If they tapped into it, they'd actually receive the effluent from the lift
No, I
station.
understand that, but.
So they have to go all the way to
So we
the
have to
lift
look at it
station.
because it's not a private line.
Yeah, that-
Maintaining it, and we're using taxpayers' dollars to keep it up. And, you know, 500,000 is not pennies, you know? And the whole deal is, next time if we have to do anything in that area, it benefits one, we need to get more accessible to other people in that area. Because if that community grows up there, that's one of the biggest things in growth is that you have the infrastructure, and this is one part of the infrastructure, which is a major one.
Yes.
So that's something we gotta keep in mind. The other thing is, I think, this is, I hate to be getting into this dead horse again. And that pontoon boat, we had instructed the old chief of police to do what it needed to be done to get the title and to dispose of it. And I was shocked to find out today that we're still with that piece of junk. We need to get, you can go through the Department of Motor Vehicles, even if it's abandoned or whatever, get a title or get whatever to get rid of that thing. We cannot get rid of it unless we have clear title on it. Because we can't even say, go get it, it's yours, we can't, because it's not ours to, first of all, to dispose of. But we have had enough storage in there that we can actually put a lien on it and get a title and dump it. I'm sick of it. I know that some of the neighbors are still complaining about it, and I know it's not nobody's place, it's not nobody's part, but the fact is, it still keeps bringing it up to the commission. So dispose of it. Just get the title, you and the chief of police can work on that, that's not that big of a deal to get title on abandoned property. Okay? The other thing is, how are we coming along with the DUI grants and the other one? Are we gonna do anything, or we're just gonna blow it off?
No, sir, we're not gonna blow it off.
Because that was something that we started with the old chief of police, but it's time for us to do what we want done, you know? Let's see if we can get it done and see what's going on there, okay? Other than that, I don't have anything else to say, that's it.
Okay, I guess it's my turn.
Yes, ma'am.
Scott from the chamber was gonna try to sneak out from the meeting and come over and talk to us, but he probably got hung up over there. But I do know we have a convoy of Freedom trucks coming through tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. They're leaving Arizona, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Should be approximately, they say around 5 o'clock or whatever, depending on weather between here and there. But, there could be 5 of them, there could be 1,000 of them. We don't know how many there's gonna be, but, all of our restaurants and businesses have agreed to stay open later so that they can be accommodated. So anyway, I just wanted the public to know that's what's going on. I also understand Lloyd out at the convention center's been very ill and been in the hospital. And in Roswell, I believe, wasn't he?
Yes, ma'am, he's back at work, and I had a chance to speak with him yesterday when I was at the convention center. He's doing better, he's doing fine.
Okay, all right. I just had just heard that at EDC yesterday, so anyway. Other than that, everybody have a nice weekend, stay warm. Be glad when it's summer. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Roll call?
Commissioner Terry,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moya,
Yes.
Commissioner Gamera.
Yeah.